All right. Good morning, yogis. My name is Daniel. This is Daniel Lee Yoga, and thank you for joining me for practice this morning. Just want to take a second to thank you all for joining and just making sure that everything looks good. I think we're getting started on time this week, so thanks for your patience. Last week we had a little bit of a delay with it starting to rain in the morning, but it looks like we have really nice skies, really open and somewhat cloudy, but it shouldn't rain, so I think we'll be good to stay outside today. Hopefully the visuals look okay and you can hear me all right. And as I go through the intro, just let me know in the chat if you have any issues, but looks like everything's good so far. I appreciate a couple of you checking in. Ellen and Marlena, welcome to class. Hope you're ready to get some nice movement in today. So as far as class today, I have a 60-minute Vinyasa-based flow class. I'm going to take things a little slow today, take and break down a couple poses as we go through our sequences. Definitely we'll be doing a lot of Vinyasa transitions, and I will go through a couple different options and variations for those. This is an all levels class, so you always have the opportunity to modify things. I'll provide modifications along the way, but whether you're a beginner or more advanced, you'll definitely find something to suit yourself today. We'll definitely be opening up the hips and adding a little bit of twist in today. So again, this is kind of the new schedule moving forward. Wednesday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern time. So hopefully this works for you. I feel like it's a nice time with me just teaching one class through YouTube this through the weeks. It's a good day to just kind of wake up Wednesday morning, get through that hump day, invigorate yourself to allow yourself to continue through the rest of the week. All right, as far as props go, like I said, if you have blocks or straps, they can definitely be helpful in class today. They're not necessary, but if you do have them, they're always good to keep nearby. So just keep them close to your mat if you do plan to use them, and we will go ahead and get started. So meet me on your backs, resting the back of your head and your shoulders on the mat, and bend your knees, bring the bottom, and let your knees fall off to the side. So we'll begin class in this Supta Baddha Konasana bound angle pose. This is where if you do have blocks or even pillows or large books, if you like to place them underneath your thighs or your knees, that little bit of support can really help to allow yourself to sink into this pose. It's not necessary, but there is an option there. So if you do have props, you can place them underneath your thighs or your knees. Otherwise, we'll just be hanging out here. So once you settle in there, let's add one hand to our heart and one hand to our belly. Beginning practice here on our backs, on our mats. Allowing ourselves to transition, knowing that this hour of practice is for ourselves. You may just be waking up and rolling out of bed. You may have already gobbled down your breakfast, maybe still some leftovers from the holiday. Or maybe you're an early bird and you've been up for a couple hours, are ready to move and groove to continue through the rest of your day. Let's take some time to focus on the breath. The breath is always there for us, allowing ourselves to reconnect to it in challenging poses or postures. It's easy to forget that it's basically the we take when we're born. And the last thing, just feel your natural rhythm of breathing here. No control, no judgment. Just allow a deep focus on your inhales and your exhales. Now, once you've observed your natural movement of your breath and your chest and your belly, let's begin to add a little bit of control over our breath. So now allowing ourselves to deepen our breathing. Notice what that feels like as you take in more air, as your belly or chest rise up or down more, and as you take more time to release. What does that do to the pace of your rising and your falling chest? Just take two more slow, deep inhales and exhales here. And on that final exhale, you can gently start to blink your eyes open if they were closed. Release your hands nice and long down by your thighs. If you had props supporting your legs, place those off to the sides and gently use your palms to take your time and lift your knees up to touch nice and slowly. Just pause here for a moment with your feet on your mat and your arms down by your sides. I've got Oliver and Coney here with me. Oliver's up at the top. He's as my hair grows longer, he thinks I've got a furry animal up on the top of my head. So he's always trying to protect me from that animal that might be attacking me. So I appreciate that, Oliver. Thank you. Okay, now let's draw the knees into our chest, lifting our feet up off the mat, gently wrapping your hands around your shins or your thighs. Have a gentle squeeze as you flex your toes back toward your face. Now, keeping your left knee hugged in, let's extend and straighten that right leg straight out. Release the right heel to the mat. Flexing both toes so they draw back toward your face. Try to roll the inner right thigh in and down towards the mat. That keeps the knee facing up towards the sky. Now draw the left knee in towards your chest as you extend out through that right heel, holding just for one more breath here. And exhale as you release. Draw the right knee in and switch. Extend that left leg straight out. Release the left heel to the mat. Flexing both toes. Spinning the inner left thigh in and down towards the mat. Drawing that right knee in towards your chest as you extend out through that left heel. Holding for one more breath. Exhale, let's switch again. Draw the left knee in, extend that right leg straight out. This time, option to hover that right heel off the mat, maybe an inch or two. You're still flexing both toes, drawing them back toward your face. Make sure you maintain your shoulders and the back of your head on the mat. If you are hovering your heel, you might need to start drawing the navel in and down, engaging the abdominal muscles to help support yourself here. Just hold for one more breath. Exhale, let's switch. Draw the right knee in. Left leg extends out. Same option as before. Option to release the heel or hover an inch or two off the mat. Drawing that navel in and down. Still spinning this inner left thigh in and down towards the mat. Keep drawing the toes back toward your face. Shoulders rest on the mat. Throw the right knee in a little bit more as you extend out through that left heel. And exhale, we'll switch one more time. This time as you extend the right leg long, draw the left knee in towards your chest. Same option for that right leg. Heel down or hover to an inch or two off the mat. This time with your left leg, the knee that's drawn in, hold on to the back of your left thigh and begin to straighten the left leg up towards the sky. It's still early, so we don't need to be too intense here, but try to draw the bottom of the left foot up towards the sky wherever you are. This is where you'll really need to draw that navel in and down. Just keep the back of your head and your shoulders on the mat and gently try to draw that left thigh in towards your stomach as you extend the right heel away. Just holding for one more breath. Exhale, let's switch. So We draw the right knee into our chest. Left leg extends out nice and long. Left heel can be on the mat or hovering. Now hold on to the back of the right thigh as you extend and straighten the right heel up towards the sky. Keep spinning this inner left thigh in and down. Try to draw the right thigh in towards your chest as you draw your navel in and down. Reach out through the left heel, holding for one more breath. And now exhale, draw both knees into your chest. Gentle squeeze for a moment here. And then release your feet down onto the mat. Set your ankles underneath your knees. Feet and knees are hip width distance. Arms down to the sides, beginning to add some movement here. So on your inhale, lift your arms up overhead and extend your fingertips away from your body. So arms are nice and long overhead. And exhale, bring your arms back and down to the sides, just like that. 3 more times. So inhale, just moving the arms overhead, keep them nice and long. Exhale, release the arms down to your sides. 2 more times. Inhale as you extend overhead, fingertips nice and long. Exhale, release back and down. 1 more time. Inhale, arms overhead. And exhale, arms back and down to your sides. Now stay here. Option to add a bridge pose. We're holding just for a breath. So make sure your ankles are underneath your knees. Press down through your feet. And on your inhale, lift your arms up. If you're lifting into bridge, lift your hips, pelvis, and chest up as well. Exhale, release everything back down, curling from the top of the spine, middle, low back, last to arrive. 3 more times. So inhale, lift the arms up. If you're lifting into bridge, lift up, press down through the feet. And exhale, release back everything down. 2 more times, just like that. Maybe you're just moving the arms. Exhale, gently release everything back down. 1 more time. Option for your bridge pose lift here. And exhale, gently release. Now keep your low back on the mat. Inhale as you bring your arms back up overhead 1 more time. So no bridge pose here. Keep your low back on the ground. Keep your arms overhead. Now from here, let's extend the legs nice and long. So fingertips draw away from your body. Option for your feet either to flex with the toes drawing back, or maybe you point the toes away. Just want a nice long and deep stretch here. So draw the feet away from your body as you extend the fingertips nice and long. Nice full body stretch. Everything out here. And exhale, release. Let's draw the knees into our chest. Gently wrap the hands around your shins. Nice, good stretch. Morning wake up stretch here. All right, with the knees hugged in, let's gently rock from side to side, massaging that low back. And coming back to center in stillness. Moving into our tabletop, if you're one that likes to roll up and down your spine a couple times, you can cross your ankles, chin into chest slightly, and then rock up and down your spine a couple times, holding on to the backs of your thighs. Once you do that, you can cross your legs and come through into tabletop, or you can just send your legs off to the side and meet in tabletop. If you have any other way to get into tabletop, just do what works for you and meet me here. Just take a minute in your tabletop, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, tops of the feet to the mat. Take a moment here. I'm just going to check the stream, make sure everything looks okay. Looks like we're all still good. In your tabletop, make sure your fingers are nice and spread. Wrist creases are lined up with that short edge of your mat, or maybe they're slightly turned out. Gently pressing the tops of the feet into the mat. Make sure your knees and feet are both hips width distance. So if you take a gaze back between your thighs, most of your feet should be hidden back there. Now drawing the navel in and up to create a nice long spine. So the tailbone draws down towards the back end of your mat as the crown of your head draws forward. Firm those outer upper arms in so those elbow creases start to face forward. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. Moving right into our cow-cat. So on your inhale, drop the navel, send the heart forward, look up, cow pose. Exhale, reverse, round your back, shoulders separate, head hangs heavy, cat pose. Let's do 3 more times on your breath, inhaling through your cow. Exhale through your cat. 2 more times. Allowing yourself to connect your breath to your movement here. And no rush, but after your last cat pose, meet me back in a nice neutral spine. From here, we'll move back to plank for just a breath, so curl the toes under, extend the legs back. Plank pose, then we'll lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, take a nice deep inhale and exhale. Let's move our down dog, so take your dog for a walk, maybe lift one heel, lift the other. You always have the option to drop down to your knees, and you can walk your dog here as well. So just take a couple breaths to move. Maybe you drop one shoulder below the other. Maybe as you lift a leg, you open up your hip slightly. Just take 3 more breaths to move. You can nod your head yes and no, left and right, up and down. And one more breath here. And now we'll gently shift forward, release our knees back down to the mat. Bring the tops of your feet to the mat. Separate your knees out wide, big toes touch. Send your hips back to your heels, child's pose. Releasing your forehead down to the mat, or maybe to a block or a towel if it doesn't quite reach. Arms extended out nice and long. Take a couple deep breaths in your child's pose. Grounding yourself here, knowing that this is always an option for you. If you need to regroup or reconnect with your breath here, child's pose is always here for you. Additionally, if child's pose is even a little too intense for you, you can come back onto your back and draw your knees into your chest just as we started practice. Always an option as well. Just take one more deep breath here. All right, now we'll lift back up into tabletop. So lift your forehead up, lift your hips up. Bring your wrists back underneath your shoulders, knees back underneath your hips, tops of the feet to the mat. Now, as I said before, we'll be working through a lot of vinyasa movements here. And a vinyasa movement is a series of coordinated postures that we usually take one breath to move through each one. So there are a couple different variations that we can take, and we'll start with the base level variation for our vinyasa. So starting in your tabletop, keep firming those outer upper arms in. We'll step and extend the right leg back and extend the left leg back, plank pose. Now drop your knees to the mat. Notice that as you drop your knees down, they're a little bit farther behind your hips, and keep your toes still curled under. Now from here, we'll take a nice deep inhale as we shift our torso forward, maybe a couple inches. Then we bend the elbows back as we lower all the way to the mat. Once you lower, then you bring the tops of your feet to the mat. Firm those ankles in. Press the tops of the feet down. Inhale, lift your chest up into your baby cobra, releasing the tailbone down towards your heels. Exhale as you gently release. Forehead or nose comes back down to the mat. Keep your knees down. Firm those elbows in. Press your hands down. Inhale, lift up. Keep the knees down. Then you curl your toes under, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. So we finished our vinyasa in our downward facing dog. So that's the first way we'll work on. If that method works for you, moving through those postures with your knees down, go for it. Otherwise, as we move through class, there will be a couple different variations if you'd like to try. Additionally, if you just want to take a break from your vinyasa, want to catch your breath, you can move right into your down dog or come into child's pose or tabletop as well. So you're always welcome to skip your vinyasa. All right, let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, gently walk up towards the top of your mat. Stay in your forward fold. So feet hips width distance at the top of your mat. Head hangs nice and long. Let's grab opposite elbows, hang in our ragdoll pose. So crown of the head draws down towards the mat as the hips draw up towards the sky. Press down evenly through all 4 corners of the feet. With grabbing opposite elbows, let's gently sway from side to side in our ragdoll pose.
Maybe one knee bends a little more than the other. And now let's switch whichever form is on top. Try and even out both sides here. You can keep swaying from side to side, bending one knee, bending the other, or maybe you just like to stay right in the center, getting a nice deep hamstring stretch here. All right, let's all meet back in center. Release the clasp of your elbows, press down through your feet, come up nice and slowly. So spin the inner thighs in and back and start to roll up your spine one vertebrae at a time. Chin is the last thing to arrive. Take your time rolling up nice and slowly. And once you're up, let's inhale as we raise the arms up overhead. Exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. Moving through our half sun salutation. So press down through your feet. Inhale, raise the arms up overhead. We'll hold for a couple breaths here. With our arms up overhead, palms face each other. Try to draw the shoulder blades down your back. Really press down through the feet. Release the tailbone down. Draw those frontal hip points up to the front bottom ribs. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, keep the nice long spine as we fold forward, hinge forward back into that forward fold. Knees can slightly bend here as you release the crown of your head back down towards the mat. In our forward fold here, your fingertips or palms can come to the mat, or they can rest on your shins or your thighs, wherever you are. Try to spin the inner thighs in and back behind you, holding for one more breath. Now place your hands to the tops of your shins. Inhale, lifting halfway. So we're looking for a nice long spine parallel to your mat. Draw the shoulders away from your ears. Press down through your feet. Holding for one more breath here. Our halfway lift. And exhale, hinge forward back into that forward fold. Stay for a couple breaths. Again, arms can rest down wherever you like. Just try and press down through your feet as you lift the hips up towards the sky. Maybe your legs start to straighten a little bit more here. Now coming back up to standing. So press down through your feet and inhale, arms out and up overhead, lifting everything back up. And exhale, hands down through the center of your chest and down to the sides. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Let's repeat that one more time. One breath, one movement. On your next inhale, raise the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway, hands to the shins, nice long spine. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Press down through the feet. Inhale, raise the arms out and up overhead. And exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. All right, adding on, press down through your feet. Inhale, raise the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge forward, forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale, forward fold. This time stay low. Plant your palms either to the mat, or if you have blocks, you can plant your palms there. Keep your left foot forward. Step your right leg back. Drop your right knee down towards the mat. Now, bring your right palm directly underneath your right shoulder, either to the mat or to a block. Palm down or fingertips, left arm out to the side. Take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, twist from the navel up, lifting the left arm up to the sky. Keep firming the legs in towards each other. We're adding a nice easy twist here. Try to rotate the outer left arm in so the left palm faces forward. Maybe the gaze comes up towards those fingertips. Hold for one more breath. And exhale, gently release that left arm down. Both palms plant on the mat. Curling the right toes under, lift that right knee up. Step the left foot to meet the back foot. We'll lower our knees down through our vinyasa. Shift our torso forward, bend the elbows back, lower all the way to the ground. Tops of the feet to the mat. Press your feet down, hips down. Inhale, lift your chest up. Baby cobra. Exhale, gently release. Keep the knees down, curl the toes, lift up into your knees down plank pose with the toes curled under, up and back, downward facing dog, completing our vinyasa there. So maybe that movement works for you. Maybe you like to move right into your down dog. Otherwise, we'll have a couple options coming up to mix up our vinyasa that way. From here, let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Feet hips width distance. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Stay low, plant your palms again. Right foot forward, this time left foot back. Drop the left knee down to the mat. Right knee tracks over that right ankle. Left palm underneath the left shoulder. Palm or fingertips to the mat or to the block. Extend the right arm straight out to the side, palm faces down. Take a nice deep inhale to prepare. Exhale, right fingertips to the sky, add your twist. So the lower body stays just as it is. We're twisting from the navel up. Try to rotate that pinky side edge of that right hand forward so the palm faces forward. Maybe your gaze comes to look up towards those fingertips. Keep firming the thighs in towards the midline. Hold for one more breath. And exhale, gently release. Curl the left toes under, lift the left knee up, send the right foot to meet the back foot. Vinyasa through, knees down, shift forward, lower all the way down to the mat. Bring the tops of your feet down, hips down. Inhale as you lift your head up, chest up, baby cobra. Exhale as you gently release. Keep the knees down, lift up as you curl your toes. Lift all the way up and back into your downward facing dog. Hold for 3 breaths in your down dog. Keep pressing your chest back towards your thighs. From those outer upper arms in. And let your head hang easy here. Take one more nice deep breath. Now let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend your knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Inhale, lifting halfway, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Press down through your feet. Lift back up to standing, arms out and up overhead. Exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. All right. Face the long edge side of your mat, wide-legged stance here. Legs are about 1 leg distance apart, 4 to 5 feet. Feet start nice and parallel, so heels are directly behind those center toes. So it would be as if you were in your mountain pose and your legs just separated out wide. Bring your hands to your hips to start. Moving into our warrior 2 poses here. Starting with the left leg, let's externally rotate that left leg out so the left toes face the front edge of your mat. Right toes turn in, slightly internally rotate this back leg. Square the shoulders to the long edge side of your mat. And make sure you have heel to arch alignment with that front heel intersecting with the back arch. Maybe you need to move that foot over slightly. With the shoulders facing the long edge side of your mat, extend the arms out nice and long, palms face down. Bending the left knee over that left ankle, and then turn your neck to look over those left fingertips. Holding in your warrior 2 for 1 breath here. Let's add some movement. Inhale as you straighten the front leg, bring both arms overhead. Exhale, rebend, warrior 2. 3 more times, just like that. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. 2 more times. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, rebend. Hold your warrior 2 here for 2 nice, slow, deep breaths. Try to lift the frontal hip bone off that front thigh. Firm this outer left thigh in and under as you press back through the outer edge of that right foot. Holding for 1 more breath here. Now we'll spiral both arms forward and down to either side of that left foot. Come up on that back right heel. Send the left foot to meet the back foot, plank pose. This is where we'll go through our second option for our vinyasa. So if you're keeping your knees up, we'll shift forward, bend the elbows, lower all the way to the mat. So knees up or down as you lower. Bring the tops of your feet down, press your feet down, hips down. Inhale, lift your head up, chest up, baby cobra. Keep drawing the tailbone towards the backs of the heels. Exhale as you gently release. Again, option for knees down or up as you curl your toes, lifting all the way up into down dog or coming through knees down plank pose first. From your down dog, take a nice deep inhale and exhale. Let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Feet hips width distance. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Press down through your feet. Inhale, lift the arms out and up overhead. Exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. All right, let's meet back in that nice wide-legged stance. Facing the same way, hands to the hips and feet nice and parallel, heels behind those center toes. We'll work on the other side this time. So starting with this right leg, we'll externally rotate it so the toes face the short edge side of your mat. Slight internal rotation of that left leg. Make sure you have that heel to arch alignment as you square your shoulders to the long edge side of the mat. Extend the arms out nice and long, palms face down. Then bend the right knee over that right ankle. Start to turn your neck to look over those right fingertips. Hold for one more breath here. And exhale. Adding some movement on your inhale, straighten that front leg, bring both arms overhead. Exhale, rebend, warrior two. 3 more times. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, rebend. One more here. Inhale as you straighten. Exhale, rebend. Hold for 2 or 3 breaths here in your warrior two stance. Front knee tracks over that ankle. Make sure you're firming this outer right thigh in and under, pressing back to the outer edge of that left foot. Raise this frontal right hip bone off that front thigh. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. Take one more inhale. And exhale as you spiral both arms forward and down. Come up on those back toes. Send the right foot back to meet the left foot. Again, knees down or up as you shift forward. Lower all the way to the mat. Tops of the feet to the mat, hips down. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Heart opens, broaden the collarbones. Exhale, gently release. Again, knees down or up as you curl the toes, lifting all the way up and back into our down dog. From our down dog, let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Feet hips width distance. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Press down through your feet. Inhale, raise the arms out and up overhead. Exhale, hands down through center and down to the sides. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Coming back to that wide-legged stance again. Hands to the hips, legs about 1 leg distance apart. This time we're adding a forward fold in our Prasarita Padottanasana. If you have a different arm variation, maybe you like to clasp your fingers behind your back, you can go for that. Otherwise, keep your hands at your hips. Make sure those heels are directly behind those center toes so the feet are nice and parallel. Start by inhaling, add a slight back bend, bring your heart up to the sky. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Keep the spine nice and long as you hinge forward into your wide-legged forward fold. Once you lower about halfway, you can either stay here, add a slight bend in the knees if you need. If you like, you can lower your hands to the mat or to your blocks. Just keep your hands shoulder width distance. Palms or fingertips can come down to the mat. At this point, you can gently release the head so the crown of your head draws down towards the mat. And if your palms are to the mat, you can gently start to walk them back, adding a little bit more of a stretch here. Just keep your hands shoulder width distance so as you walk your hands back, your elbows bend back. Wherever you are, shift more weight into the toes, but keep the heels on the mat. Keep firming the outer thighs in towards the midline. Try to release the crown of the head down, soften the shoulders away from the ears. Let's hold for 2 more slow, deep breaths here. One more breath. All right, if your hands are back by your heels, walk them back out. Hands underneath the shoulders, lifting halfway. Slight bend in the knees as you bring your hands to your hips. And inhale as you lift yourself back up. Torso comes back up. And let's gently walk the feet back into hips width distance. Maybe you can jump them in, or you just walk them in slightly, nice and slow. All right, from here, let's release the arms down to the side. Feet are back to hips width distance. Moving into a balancing pose just to reset ourselves here. Our tree pose, our favorite balancing pose. So bring your hands to your hips. Let's shift weight into that right leg. Now bend the left knee, open the left thigh out to the side. Option 1, bring the bottom of your foot, left toe stay on the mat to your shin. Option 2, you can lift those toes off the mat. Skip the knee, and final option, if you'd like, bring the bottom of that left foot into that right thigh. Wherever you are, firm this outer right hip in as you press down through that right heel. Really draw that tailbone down. Once you have your balance, you can bring your hands into the center of your chest. You can always use the wall here in your chair pose as well. So if you are using the wall, try to use the opposite arm. I'll have my left knee bent. So use your right arm against the wall if you want to practice that way. Wherever you are, keep releasing that tailbone down. Crown of the head draws up towards the sky. Nice long spine. Final option, if you'd like, grow your branches. Extend your arms nice and long. If you're holding onto the wall, you just extend one of your branches. With your arms nice and long, soften the shoulders away from the ears. I'll stay here for 2 slow, deep breaths. And if you fall out, you can just come right back into it. One more breath here. Slowly controlled, bring your hands to the center. Release that left foot down to meet the right. And let's just shake it out a little bit before we move to the other side. Bringing your hands back to your hips, feet hips width distance, heels behind those center toes. Shifting weight into the left foot this time. Bending the right knee, open that right leg out to the side. Option 1, toes stay on the mat, bottom of the right foot into that left shin. Option 2, lifting the toes off the mat. Or option 3, bottom of that right foot into that left thigh. Keeping your hands at your hips, maybe you're using your left arm against the wall to help you balance here. Wherever you are, firm this outer left hip in. It's easy to sink into it, but if you firm it in and really press down through that left heel, it gives you a lot more stability. Now, option to bring your hand to the center of your chest as you find your balance. Take a nice deep inhale. And final option, if you'd like, grow your branches with your arms up overhead, palms facing each other. Soften those shoulders away from your ears. Let's stay here for 2 slow, deep breaths. One more breath here. And exhale as you slow and controlled, hands to the center, release that right leg out, shake it out a little bit. All right, let's come back to the top of our mat. This time at the top, big toes touch, heels separate. Arms down to the sides, palms face forward. Move right into our chair pose. So bend the knees, send the hips back, arms come forward, palms face each other. Make sure you can gaze down and see your toes and shift more weight into the heels. Spine is nice and long, so we're not rounding or curling our spine. Nice and long. Bring your hands to the center of your chest, adding an easy twist here. So inhale as you lengthen through your spine. Turn just from the navel up, twist to your right. So lower body stays just as it is. As you twist to the right, you can stay up here. Option to release the left elbow to the right knee. And final option, whether you're up or elbow to knee, you can extend the arms out, palms face away from your body. Wherever you are, try to draw that left hip back, most likely it came forward, and really open that right shoulder out behind you. Hold for one more breath. And exhale, come back to centered chair pose, hands to the center of your chest. Let's take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, twist to the left side this time. Again, twisting from the navel up. Option to stay up here or release the right elbow to the left knee. And either way, you can extend your arms out, nice and long, palms face away towards the long edge side of your mat. Draw that right hip back. Maybe you turn your neck to look over those left fingertips. Really broaden the collarbones. Open that left shoulder out and back. Hold for one more breath. I know it's a lot. And exhale, hands back to center. And release into your forward fold. Let's stay here for a couple breaths. Just allow yourself to release here. Forward fold. Crown of the head draws down, lifting those hip points up towards the sky. Now let's inhale as we lift halfway, hands to the shins, nice long spine. And exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms, step your right foot back, step your left foot back, plank pose. Another option for a vinyasa here. This time, we'll keep our knees up, we'll shift forward, Bend the elbows, lower halfway. From here, tops of the feet come to the mat. Inhale, lift up, upward facing dog here. Variation on our baby cobra. And as you exhale, curl your toes under, lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. So again, choose a vinyasa that works for you. Maybe you try one and something doesn't make sense or just doesn't feel right. Just do what works for you today. And again, you can always meet us back in down dog or come down into tabletop or child's pose. Holding for one more breath here. Now let's inhale as we gaze forward. Bend the knees, exhale, walk or step to the top of the mat. Big toes touch, heels separate. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Keep the knees bent, hips back, arms forward, chair pose. And exhale, straighten the legs, hands down through center and down to the sides. Take a nice deep inhale and exhale. Moving through our last little series here. Let's inhale back into our chair pose. I promise no twists in our chair pose this time. So take a nice deep inhale. Exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, lifting halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Plant your palms, step your feet back. Vinyasa through your way. Knees down or up as you shift forward. Bend the elbows, lower all the way or halfway. Tops of the feet to the mat. Inhale, lift up. Baby cobra or upward facing dog, shoulders over wrists. Curling the toes under, lifting the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. From our downward facing dog, let's lift our left leg up and back to hip height. And then step the left foot up to the top of the mat. If it takes a couple steps, no problem. Drop the right knee down to the mat. Right toes can stay curled or uncurled. Now lift your torso up, arms come up overhead, and exhale, hands down through the center of your chest. Stay here for a moment. Try to draw the left hip back and the right hip forward. Squaring the shoulders and the hips forward, firming the thighs in towards each other. Adding a twist here. So we didn't twist this time in our chair pose, but we're adding a twist here. So again, lower body stays just as it is. We're twisting from the navel up. So start by sending your torso forward 45 degrees. Take an inhale. Exhale, twist to your left. Maybe your right elbow comes to your left knee, keeping the thumbs at the center of your chest. Again, firm those thighs in towards each other. Really try to open that left shoulder back. Keep the hands together this time. Maybe the neck draws up to look up towards the sky. Holding for one more breath here. Exhale, gently release to center. Torso lifts up, arms back up overhead. And exhale, arms forward and down to the mat. With the right toes curled under, lift the right knee up. Send the left foot to meet the right foot. Vinyasa through your way. Knees down or up as you shift forward. Bend the elbows, lower all the way or halfway down. Tops of the feet down. Inhale, baby cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, curling the toes under, lifting all the way up, downward facing dog. Moving to the other side. So lift the right leg up and back. Step the right foot up to the top of the mat. Take a couple steps if you need it. Left knee draws down. Top of the left foot is curled or uncurled, with the right knee tracking over that right ankle. Press down through your feet. Inhale, lift the arms up, torso up. Exhale, hands down through the center. Pause here for a moment. Draw the right hip back, left hip forward. Again, lower body stays just as it is, with the hands at the center of your chest. Inhale, hinge forward 45 degrees. And exhale, twist to the right, over that right knee. Maybe the left elbow comes to the right knee, adding a little external lever. But bring the thumbs back in towards the center of your chest. Really firm the thighs in towards the midline, pressing down through that right heel. Maybe you can open that right shoulder out and back. Perhaps the gaze comes to look up towards the sky. Holding for one more breath here. Exhale, gently release back to center. Lift the torso up, arms up overhead. And exhale, arms come forward and down. Curling the left toes under, lift that left knee up. Send the right foot to meet the back foot. Last vinyasa here. So knees down or up as you shift forward. Lower all the way or halfway down. Tops of the feet down. Firm those ankles in. Inhale, lifting up, back bend. Exhale as you curl the toes under. Lift up and back, downward facing dog. Sustain your down dog for 2 or 3 breaths here, last down dog of the day. Let your head hang heavy, press the chest back towards the thighs. Outer upper arms draw in. Holding for one more breath here. Inhale as you gaze forward. Bend the knees. Exhale, walker step to the top of the mat. Big toes touch, heels separate. Inhale, lift halfway, nice long spine. Exhale, forward fold. Press down through your feet. Inhale, chair pose, hips back, arms forward, palms face each other. And exhale, hands down through center. You straighten the legs and down to the sides. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. All right, one more fun little stretch here. So our last little challenge of the day, another standing balance. So we'll start off just kind of like we start in tree pose. So bring your feet hips width distance, heels behind the center toes, hands to the hips to start. Now shift weight into that right leg. Bend the left knee up to hip height, flexing those left toes. Now try to draw the left hip down and firm that outer right hip in. Now you have the option to stay here. Next option, if you'd like, straighten that left leg straight out. Option to stay here too, or final option, take your peace fingers of your left hand, wrap them around the left big toe. From here, try to straighten your spine by drawing your tailbone down, lifting the crown of your head forward. If this is enough for you, you can stay here, or final option, if you'd like, you can start to rotate that leg out to the side, keeping your shoulders facing forward. Really pressing down through that right heel wherever you are, whatever option you're taking. We'll hold for 2 breaths here. One more breath. Now draw that leg back into center. If your fingers are clasped, release, bend the knee. Slow and controlled, release that left foot to meet the right foot. All right, let's shake that out a little bit. Lots of options, lots of ways to challenge yourself here. Okay, coming back to center, feet hips width distance, arms to the hips. Shifting weight into your left foot this time. Bend the right knee up into your chest, about parallel to the mat, flexing the right foot. Draw this right hip down, firm this outer left hip in. Stay here if this is enough for you. Next option, straighten that leg straight out. You can stay here if you like. Take your right peace fingers, wrap them around your right big toe, and extend that through the bottom of your foot. If you are grabbing those toes, try and draw your right shoulder back. Looks like Oliver came by to say hello. And final option here, if you'd like, maybe open that right foot out to the side. Try to keep your shoulders facing forward. Really press down through that left heel, firming this outer left hip in. Hold for one more breath wherever you are. Exhale as you release. Draw the leg back into center. Release it from the toes, slow and controlled, hands to the hips. Release those legs down. Let's just shake it out a little bit. All right, let's come down to a seat. Take a nice little seat here with your legs out nice and long. And from here, if you have some, maybe a towel, or if you want to roll up your mat, you can definitely sit on that right now just to give you a little bit of elevation. If you feel like you're falling back, a lot of times that can help keep your spine nice and long. Now with your legs hips width distance, try to draw your toes back toward your face. Spin these inner thighs in and down, keeping the knees facing up towards the sky. Arms down beside the hips, press the palms down. Dandasana. So we're not lifting, we're just engaging. So we're pressing our hands down, firming the outer upper arms in, drawing the toes back towards our face. So as you press the sit bones down, rise up through the crown of your head. Soften the shoulders away from the ears. It might not look like much, but if you're engaging, you're adding a nice little stretch, elongating the spine here. Holding for one more breath in your Dandasana. And exhale, gently release. All right, from here, we'll draw the left knee into our chest. Open that left knee out to the side. Bring the bottom of the left foot into the right thigh, almost like a seated tree pose. If you have your blocks and like to place them underneath your left knee, go for it. This is where if you have a strap, you can wrap your strap around your right foot if you'd like. We're adding a forward fold. So if you have your strap, go ahead and hold on to either end. Otherwise, if you don't, bring your arms up overhead, palms face each other, nice long spine. And exhale, send your heart forward. Again, keep that nice long spine. So we're avoiding rounding our back too much here. If you're not using your strap, release your hands to the mat. And you can slightly tuck your chin. Try to draw your chest towards your toes here as your toes draw back. If you need to, you can have a slight bend in this right knee, allowing yourself to fold forward maybe a little bit more. So we inhale as we lengthen. Exhale, fold. 2 more breaths here. Inhale as you lengthen. Exhale, fold. 1 more time here. All right, gently start to release the strap. Walk your hands back. Lift your torso back up. Bring your left knee back up to center. Extend that left leg straight out. Feet hips width distance. And we'll switch. Draw the right knee into your chest, releasing that right knee out to the side. If you have your block, you can place it underneath that right knee with the bottom of the right foot coming into the left thigh. You can draw those left toes back and spin this inner left thigh down to the knee faces up. Wrap your strap around the ball of your toe if you're using that. Otherwise, inhale as you raise the arms up overhead, nice long spine. And exhale, hinge forward, send your heart towards your toes. You can gently release your hands down, fingertips or palms come to the mat. If you are using your strap, try to draw your elbows back as your heart draws forward. Staying for 3 more breaths. Wherever you are, use your inhales to lengthen. Exhale to fold. Slight bend in that left knee if you'd like for 2 more breaths here. Last breath. All right, gently start to lift yourself back up here. Let's extend both legs forward. Use your hands as you bend your knees to send your hips up closer to your heels, gently lowering onto our back. So hold onto your shins or your thighs as you gently lower onto your spine. Once you lower onto your back, bring your ankles back underneath your knees, arms down to the sides. So knees and feet are hips width distance. Back of the head, shoulders, and low back all rest on the mat. Moving into 2 bridge poses here. So start by pressing the feet down into the mat, and on your inhale, lift the hips up, pelvis up, chest up, bridge pose. Holding here for a couple breaths. Try to maybe roll your triceps in and under to lift your chest up a little bit higher. But spin your inner thighs in and down, drawing your tailbone towards the backs of your knees. Maybe you lift up a little bit higher for 1 more breath. Exhale, gently lower from the top of your spine, middle of the back, low back, last to arrive. Bring your knees together to touch. Separate your feet out to the width of the mat. Stay here for a couple breaths. We have the option for bridge pose number 2. And if you'd like, you can send your arms underneath your back, clasping your fingertips. If wheel is in your practice, you can move into that back bend. But otherwise, I'll talk through the bound fingers underneath our back for our bridge pose. So let's bring our knees and our feet back to hips width distance, arms down to the side. Press your feet down into the mat. On your inhale, lift your hips up, pelvis up, chest up, bridge pose. You could stay here, or if you'd like, roll those triceps under. Try to clasp your fingertips together. Bring your wrist to touch, and straighten the arms. Maybe roll the triceps under a little bit more. Try to draw the pinky side edge of your hands down towards the mat. Wherever you are, you're spinning your inner thighs in and down, drawing your tailbone towards the backs of your knees. Lifting the chest up higher for 1 more breath. Exhale, release the bind, arms out to the side, gently lower from the top of your spine, low back, last to arrive. Bring your knees into touch, feet separate out wide. And just let your knees rock from side to side this time. All right, coming back to center. Walk your knees and your feet back into hips width distance. Separate your knees wide and draw your knees into your chest. Now bring your knees and your feet to touch, arms down to the sides. Lift your knees directly above your hips and chins come parallel to the mat, feet are flexed. Now extend the arms out nice and long to a T shape, palms face up. We'll lower our knees to the side, but we want it to be nice, slow, and controlled. So try to draw the navel in and down, engaging the abdominal muscles to help slow the descent here. So take a nice deep inhale to prepare. Exhale, let the knees fall off to the right side again, nice and slow. Take your time lowering them. Know that you're engaging your abdominal muscles to help slow yourself here. Once your knees lowered to capacity, if that left shoulder popped up off the mat, try and reroute down that left shoulder. If you have your props, you can place them underneath your knees or maybe in between your thighs. And then final option, you can turn your neck to look over those left fingertips for a full spinal twist here. Just take 2 slow, deep breaths, allowing gravity to just sink your body into the mat here. One more breath. All right, again, press the backs of your hands into the mat. Gaze comes back up to center, and slow and controlled lift your knees back up to center. Once you've recentered your hips, again, knees over hips, shins parallel to the mat, toes draw back. Take an inhale to prepare. Exhale, gently lower to the left side. Again, slow and controlled here. And once your knees lower to capacity, reroute down that right shoulder. If you'd like, place your prop or your block underneath your knees or in between your thighs. With your palm still facing up, turn your neck to look over those right fingertips. And stay here for 2 slow, deep breaths. All right, gently bring your gaze back to center. Press the backs of your hands into the mat. Last little strength as you lifting your knees back up to center and draw the knees back into your chest. Wrap your hands around your shins or your thighs. Let's draw the shoulders and the back of the head off the mat. Come into an egg shape. Try and squeeze everything together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And exhale, extend. Legs nice and long. Arms extend overhead, just like when we started practice. So maybe you're pointing your toes away, extending the fingertips nice and long. Full body stretch, stretch, stretch. And exhale, release. Arms down to the sides, nice and long. Palms face up. With your legs long, let your knees and your feet fall out to the side. Settle in here to your Shavasana pose, final pose of practice. If you have your props, blocks, or a blanket and you want to put them underneath your knees, sometimes that can allow more of your spine to rest on the mat. So feel free to take that option. Also, if you want to take the same option when we started practice, bottoms of the feet together, letting the knees fall out to the side. We definitely worked on opening our hips today, so maybe that feels like you're a little more open here. If there's any other version of Shavasana, take whatever feels best for you today. Just know that Shavasana is a time to release. Allowing yourself to soften any muscles in your face and your jaw. Let your shoulders be heavy and spine melts into the mat. always have the option to soften your gaze or close your eyes completely. And finally, release any control you have over your breath. Just be. Now let's begin to bring some awareness back into our bodies. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. Switch directions in those rotations. And come back to stillness for one last breath here on your back. Gently draw your knees into your chest as you roll over to one side of your body. Let your top arm rest on your bottom, top knee rest on your bottom knee. Stay for a breath here on your side. And try to keep your eyes softened or your gaze closed as you use your top arm to press yourself up into a comfortable cross-legged seat to complete your practice today. As you settle into your seat, rest your palms on tops of your knees. Palms can face up or bring your hands into the center of your chest. Let's all take a nice deep inhale in together. Through the mouth, exhale. Thank you for joining me for practice today. The light and love in me acknowledges and honors the light and love in each one of you. Thank you. Peace. Okay, thank you all so much for joining me this morning or whenever you may be watching this video for class today. Hope you feel great. I hope you can take however you're feeling into the rest of the week. Really appreciate you all showing up for practice today. Hopefully everything looked and sounded okay. I've got kind of a road nearby, lots of birds and animals out here. You may have heard the dogs and whatnot, and a little bit of wind coming through. So hopefully it came through nice and clear and you could get a nice, good practice in. Again, if you have any questions for practice, feel free to leave them in the chat. You can also leave a comment on the video, or there's more ways to reach out to me in the video description. Again, this will be the new schedule moving forward, so Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time, so hopefully that works well for you all that are watching. But they always get recorded and go up on my channel, so if you like to watch it at a different time, it's always there for you. But I know it's nice doing a class live with myself and others. So again, if you have any questions, reach out to me. Otherwise, I will be back here next Wednesday. I'm also teaching a class through free Baltimore yoga this Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern time.
You can feel free to check out their Facebook page and watch me there. I will say it is a very similar sequence as I performed today, so just be aware of what to expect if you do plan to join that class. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Ellen, thank you for checking in. I hope you enjoyed class today, and I will see you all next time. Again, my name is Daniel. Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day and your week. Take care.